What's going on, guys? Hey, it's Anthony, and it's another install video for the Chevy Silverado. So let me put the camera down. Let me talk to you about what we have going on today here in the garage. While I'm doing this, don't forget, guys, if you have not subscribed, take a moment to subscribe. We've got a bunch of videos in our playlist. We're always talking about something, and we're always doing something as well. Now that that's out of the way, let's dive into today's video. So I am gonna try to shorten this up as best as possible because I got some rewiring and some stuff to do. I'm going to be doing an install of these guys on the nudge bar. So what that means is I've got to drill the nudge bar out, and the way that I'm going to do this, there's already holes in the lower portions of it that are measured, which is perfect for me because on the outside I'm going to run the flood lamps. On the inside I'm going to run the rigid driving lamps. So that's what they look like. I already got the covers for them. I've had these for years. These are incredible lights. Now let me put those down. The other part that I'm going to be doing is an install on these guys. I'll put some links to these. These are my favorite buttons. They're black. The little ring right there lights up. If you can see that. They're built really well. They're very cost effective. I like how they look. They're not kind of crappy looking. And they just kind of go with the truck. Now, they bolt in. There's a little seal ring right here. There's your options on the back for this one. Here is the instructions. Always keep instructions to electrical stuff. So that's LED light on, and then LED light always on. So you got two different options on how you want to wire them. So that's that. I'm going to run two of them. One is going to be for flood lamps, the other one is going to be for the driving lamps. That's that. Now let me show you guys the wiring real quick. I did the wiring video just because I thought it was necessary. It looks kind of crappy right now, and I did that intentionally. This is my power wire. This is the body ground wire. And then I honed it down to just two wires. You have this, is what's going to go into the cab of the truck, marked two for both the lights, and then this octopus is what's getting plugged in. Now I went through this, soldered all the joints, everything. The reason these two wires are not covered, and I do have the wire loom over there, is because I'm going to run these in the same channel as the sports bar lights, which means I've got to take apart the single wire loom and then upgrade it to the 3/8 inch bigger wire loom. So I just have, instead of two different wire looms going, I'll have one for each, the body ground and the power. So let's get over to the truck. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Super simple, and really I'm gonna more than likely either cut it out or fast forward through this stuff. I've showed you guys how to do this. I'll explain it again. It's super simple. Here's the nudge bar right here. Kind of dirty. If you go under it, see that hole right there? So the goal is I'm gonna drill a hole through the top of it, and then I'm actually gonna open this up quite a bit, and that way I can get a socket in there and then mount those. So there's one here, then there's one right here toward the middle, one pretty close to it toward the middle, and then obviously another one on the other end. That's the way the lighting is gonna go. And then over here I have the ground body cable, the power cable. So again, I'm just gonna take all these zip ties off that I put on, take them all off, cut the loom, open it up, and then switch the loom over to the bigger loom. That takes care of the whole interior wiring, or excuse me, the whole engine bay wiring. Super simple. And then I do need to punch back through the grommet, and what I'm going to do, and I'll show you guys this as well, is obviously pull the wire, do all of that. Now behind this there's no space there because I've got the trailer brake controller the four-wheel drive selector, and then the lighting setup, there is literally no space in here. If you look at that. Now, obviously, I could cut into here and then punch out the back, which I don't really want to do. What I'm thinking I'm going to do is run it right here and run two of them pretty close to each other right there. An easy way for me to do that is obviously get the wiring all ready, do a test on it, pull them out, do a test on them, plug them in, make sure everything's wired correctly, and then put one in at a time and tighten it down, put one in, tighten it down, put one in, tighten it down, run the wires, and then I'll have two of them right here. The nice part is, again, those are black switches with the lights. Now, when you're going to select your area, you got to do some research. So this cavity, at first I was thinking, hey, I'll run it right here and right here, but you can see it's pretty tight in here, right? But up here, it's pretty open, at least for this first few inches. Problem with running it right here is that guy right there. So that is the hurdles I'm up against. Hopefully this will go smooth, be fairly simple to kind of do this, other than obviously punching back through that grommet and then running the wiring. So I'm gonna grab some stuff and start this process. Again, what I'll probably do is just cut in where I'm at so I can explain instead of you just watching me mess around with this stuff, because it's gonna be boring because I gotta cut off the old wire loom and all that. Let's get to the truck. All right, guys, so I'm gonna start doing the wiring, and an important thing if you're gonna do any kind of wiring, whether it's a sound system or lights or just anything with wiring, is pre-route your stuff. So this looks like a big ass mess. I've got the power cable sitting up here, but it's ran, like I said, I'm gonna pull all this wire that runs all the way to the other side, and then I have my ground cable sitting over here, just pulled out of the way. It goes under everything, and then this pile of mess right here is what I'm going to punch through the grommet, and then I have the other wire that's going to ultimately run under this and then to the bar itself. One thing that I have done a few times, I've used the good old use this to punch through the grommet. I did use back in the day, I would use, well, not back in the day, probably like 5-6 years ago when I had my other truck, and with other buddies' trucks I would use a hard clothes hanger, because you got to punch through that thing. You can't use a screwdriver because the butt of the screwdriver is not going to make it through. There are tools for this if you're going to run flat wire, non-connected wire, or non-rigged wire. So that's what I'm going to do, and we'll catch up here in a second. All right, guys, so we are almost, we're almost done wiring. I mean, really, it's not that bad. We did punch it through. This, we stripped down the power wire, so we're gonna rerun it with the bigger loom. And we have everything kind of separated, and then we'll go in the truck here. So this is what I was talking about, so punch it, took this off, oops, took the cover off, ran it up under. There's my wire. Obviously I'll trim it down when I go to run it in to here. So now what I'm gonna do is pretty simple. I'm gonna fix the loom for the power wire, run the ground wire, which I already started disconnecting down below here, get under the truck, hook up the ground wire, fix this, fix the ground wire, run this wire up to the nudge bar, and then from there what I'll probably do is go ahead and wire in the switches, and then I will take care of the lights on there and we'll call it done. All right, so just to explain where I'm at right now, I just ran testing on these lights to see which plugs went to which lights. Those are good, so I know which two is which two. So when I wired up, it is ran under the truck. The wiring is, let me point you a little bit closer here. The wiring is completely good to go. Got everything wired in up here. Still a little bit of cleanup I'll have to do at some point. I don't know if I'll do that today or not because I'm almost done. This is where I ended up opting to put the switches. Wires are ran. I'm gonna end up zip tying this all together, make it look nice, but it's ran through the firewall. Oops. Ran through the firewall all the way up and around. I've got my 2 holes because I'm gonna do one at a time. That way I can reach in there and then screw it in, or screw the bolt in. But it's pretty straightforward from this point. There's my switches. I do think one of my switches, the light on it's bad. So I'm gonna put the one that I don't think is working on the outside so I can order a replacement. That pretty much wraps this up. So I'm gonna finish this up and then hopefully the lights will turn on. Let's see if this works. All right, so here we are. I'm gonna finish it up right there. So let me show you the way it came out. So a couple of things with this. I am gonna make some changes. I'm gonna see if Rigid still sells these mounts because I've got 2 chrome ones, 2 black ones. I'm gonna see if I can get those in good old black and then see about getting the caps. Now down below these holes I'm gonna get some rubber caps to put on there to seal it up, and then I might do some touch-up paint. I don't know, because the other part with this is I will be taking this bar off at some point and getting it rhino lined, I think is what I'll do. Either rhino lined or recoated, probably rhino lined. So that's what that looks like. Looks good. I'll show you let me grab the keys. Obviously I'll adjust the lights once it gets dark and everything. I'll show you this. I do, like I said, have to order one of these, but for the most part, you know, the ones up here, these 2 are down here, they're black. They look decent on. So this one should be turning on. It's not, it's just broke, so we'll order another one of those and we'll go around to the front. Obviously it's the middle of the day. I need to clean these covers. Overall, I think it looks great. I like the lighting on it. I like where they're sitting because you got your fog lights on the outside. I've got the floodlights right there, so it's gonna send light out wide, and then I've got the 2 in the center shooting straight down. With the top, sport bar lights, and all of the lights as a whole, that's a lot of lighting. And another thing, I'm going to more than likely, almost forgot, flip these brackets. I've done that before. So I'll flip these around and then these will sit almost on the bar. I like that look as well. Kind of cuts back on the way that they're kind of sitting up there. Actually, that doesn't look too bad from a distance either. Anyways, guys, wrapping it up there. I know this is a pretty long video on the install. The underhood's all cleaned up. I already showed you guys that and much more. I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you guys have questions, comments, drop them down below. I'll put some of the stuff, I'll put some cube lights, expensive, not expensive, down below, some light bars, some of the tools, some of the stuff that I use for installing lights, if you're interested. And of course, if you're out riding or driving, do it safely. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button, and we're gonna see you in the next video.